afternoon. I'm Jeff Harrell, author of Rockney of Ages and As God's Witness, The Death of Knute Rockney. We're coming at you again, live from Augie's Locker Room in beautiful South Bend, Indiana, in the shadow of Notre Dame Football Stadium at Notre Dame University. Just had the ESPN preseason college football polls released, and the Irish is number 9, ranked number 9, behind Alabama, who's number 1, Oklahoma, Clemson, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas A&M, Iowa State, Cincinnati, and Notre Dame at number 9. Iowa State, Cincinnati, really good football programs, good schools, have been coming up a little bit past couple years, which is all well and good. Notre Dame is number 9. There's a little bit of disrespect going on here, and there may be a pretty good reason for that, which falls in the lap of head coach Brian Kelly, who's done a good job recruiting, trying to make this team faster over the years, trying to recruit speed. He's had, of course, college football every 4 years, even anymore every 1 or 2. If you've got a great player that leaves the program early to go to the pros, you have to replace these players, and now you've got the transfer portal, which is wide and very active under the recent NCAA rules that have loosened up football players' their eligibility requirements. At the same time, there is a reason why Notre Dame is not, let's say, number 5 or 6 behind Ohio State and Clemson and Alabama. Take last year, for instance. Notre Dame was undefeated until they got to the ACC championship game, and they got blown out by Clemson, a team they had beaten earlier with Trevor Lawrence out, but still a great Clemson team. Clemson beat them 34-10 in the ACC championship, and then in the semifinal of the playoffs, in the college playoff, they lost to Alabama 31-14, which, all due respect to Alabama, that was the best showing against Alabama. That was the most points, or the less points that anybody gave up to Alabama, believe it or not. They were averaging something like 45 points a game, and they were blowing everybody out. Still, Notre Dame is Notre Dame, and they got there, and they needed to have a better performance. Let's go back to 2018. They were 12-1, went undefeated, got into the semifinal again, the college playoff semifinal, playing for a national championship, went up against Clemson, got shellacked 30-3. That was the number 4 team in the country playing, I believe at the time, the number 1 or 2 team in the country. My memory is not recollecting whether Clemson or Alabama was number 1 that year, but I know Clemson beat Alabama in the final seconds in the championship game. Still, it was Notre Dame undefeated throughout the season. They had a tough schedule. They've always had a tough schedule with the independent with independent status, and they got shellacked. Now they had the talent, but where is that motivation going into a championship game that, let's say, one Knute Rockney might have given, to have these players come out and be willing to go through a stone wall for that, to win that game? Let's go all the way back to the famous game in 2012 and the bowl game of 2013, the championship game. Again, Notre Dame undefeated. Again, they go against Alabama, and if you remember correctly, Notre Dame looked like a Division II team against a pro squad from Alabama that beat them 42-14, and it wasn't even that close. That was the year that Manti Te'o was a senior, and as a linebacker, he was up for the Heisman Trophy. They had talent up and down that team. Why that team just laid down and died in that game, again, is more said for the motivation they had going into the game and maybe less than the talent that they had, and they had a boatload of talent. This year, we're looking at a good squad coming back. Got a lot. He's recruited some speed in the backfield. There's some returning players. The offensive line is going to be strong. They've got this great running back in Kyron Williams, and they've got a quarterback derby there. 3 quarterbacks who have turned out. Number one, Jack Cohn, the transfer from Wisconsin, strong arm, big kid, 6'4", big kid, strong arm quarterback, pretty mobile, good head on his shoulders, did very well at Wisconsin. And they've got all the way down to the kid Tyler Buckner, the freshman, who's another good strong kid, good strong arm. And the reason why, from what I understand, the reason why Buckner is backing up Cohn is because of height. Buckner's 5'10", Cohn is 6'4". It's a big offensive line. Cohn is able to see over that line and be able to deliver passes where Buckner might have to scramble out of the pocket to get the pass off. That said, Coach Kelly needs to get this team. He's got the talent. He's a great recruiter. Coach Kelly's a good coach. He's a good offensive coach, particularly. He knows his quarterbacks in particular. He's had a history of knowing the quarterbacks. He's had a history of bringing in good, strong offensive line to get his scheme. A little personal observation after watching this team for the past 10 years, I think Coach Kelly needs to think out of the box more and to take his to take the offensive scheme that he works in, which is good. It's top flight. It's a top flight scheme. I think when he gets into these big games against these high-ranked teams, the Clemsons, the Alabamas, the Georgias, who they'll play this year, he needs to think out of the box. He needs to go 2021. He needs to go high tech. Bring in a second-string quarterback to run an option with with a double backfield with your running back and maybe a Cohn, to have that option open. Again, that said, we almost got football season, and we're ranked number 9. That means there's 8 positions to go up. So, go Irish. Let's get them going. September 5th is the first game against Florida State. The first home game is Toledo, where, by the way, I will be signing copies of Rockney of Ages from 9 to 11:30. So, go Irish. We'll see you next time. We're live from Augie's, and have a great day.